Hi, everyone. David Aragona and Mike Beer here, taking a look at the final of the three Grade 1 races that will be contested on opening Sunday at Santa Anita. Closing out the 11 race card is the American Oaks, this one going 1.25 miles on the turf course for the 3-year-old fillies. And Mike, while we did get legitimate Grade 1 fields for the La Brea and the Malibu, some pretty strong runners with back class in those races, I'm not sure this came up a true Grade 1. I mean, we didn't get too many shippers in for this race. I suppose the horse that makes it an intriguing affair is the number 10 at Scylla, who is the wild card in this race, coming in from Europe for new connections. And she does have Group 1 form overseas. We'll see how that translates to Southern California. But when you start to dig through the rest of this field, it's a lot of horses that you don't really think about as Grade 1 quality.
Just didn't come up that strong. Yeah, you don't really have, legit Grade 1 horses in the race. You also have a pretty serious, I think, distance question to answer for most of these fillies. And that includes the 10 at Scylla, as you mentioned, shipping over 5 straight major Group 1 races in her last 5 starts, but she's never been beyond a mile herself.
Everybody, a reminder, this race will be run on Sunday. I know that typically opening day at Santa Anita is December 26th, the day after Christmas, but it was delayed 2 days this year due to some predicted rain out in Southern California. So this will close out the Sunday card at Santa Anita. Let's take a look at the Timeform US pace projector for this race. And Mike, it does feel like there's some speed bookending this field. The number 1, 1,000 miles. I mean, they're likely to go forward with her because she ran her best ever turf race when going to the front end and holding on for second in the autumn miss. And the number 11 Ribbons, she basically has to send from the outside. They tried rating 2 back. That didn't work out at all. So I'd imagine they're going to go back to front running tactics with her.
Yeah, drawn to the far outside. Her hand's probably forced anyway. Did, just wire a field in an allowance race in her most recent start, although she got absolutely loose on the lead that day, and that won't be the case here. Yeah, the 2 bookends probably have to go totally justified. She's got plenty of speed if she wants to be involved early. We'll see how it plays out.
Let's go through this field from the rail. I'll be beginning with the number 1, 1,000 miles. And this is a horse that has competed in a variety of states. I mean, started out in Washington, went down to a Turf Paradise. She's competed in Zia Park recently. She did run in Southern California 2 back, though. That was the autumn mistakes referenced earlier. We'll take a look at the stretch run of that race, Mike. And she does battle back gamely to hold on for second in this race, though. I want to pause the brakes on upgrading this performance too much because there were just long shots filling out all of the spots underneath the winner in this race. I think the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place finishers were all gigantic prices. She was 95-1 finishing second, and it also felt like a race where all the best running was done by the horses that saved ground, and she was one of those. And even if she runs back to that effort, I don't think it quite makes her good enough against this field.
Yeah, right. I mean, all those things are true, and it's just one of those races where she, did what she could do last time. They let her have the lead in that race. She was 1,000,000-1, and she did her best with it. But even if she runs that race back, even if she makes the lead and doesn't have to go that fast and runs that race back in here, she's probably not beating this field.
The number 2 will then, I guess, Jonathan Thomas is trying to rival Bob Baffert by having the market cornered on all the contenders in a race, because I think he has 3 horses going out for Augustin Stables in this Grade 1 affair, not quite as many as Baffert's 5. And the Malibu will then, she's probably going to be the shortest price among that trio, with Flavien Prat climbing aboard here, Mike. I just wonder where she is at this point in her career, because she showed so much talent early on, winning those 3 races in a row, including 2 stakes in Southern California. And now she's lost 5 consecutive starts. And I think she's gotten decent trips in a few of those, though I will give her a pass for the last race when they tried to go 1 3/8 against older horses in the red carpet and probably just went a little bit too fast over a course that seemed like it was pretty tiring, and she paid the price late. But I still wonder if even 1.25 miles is a little far for her.
I worry about that too. Although, yeah, I'm glad you point out that she did face, a legit sort of long distance older horse last time and just, wasn't able to hold on at the end. But I'm with you on your other point too, David. I mean, though that three race winning streak, I thought she looked really good winning all of those races. And I don't really like anything she's done since then. I mean, she's run fine, but not as well as she was running earlier in the year. And I don't see big excuses for her.
As we said, there are not a plethora of shippers coming in for this race, but one that's pretty intriguing is the number 3 Cliffs, who's shipping in from Kentucky for trainer Cherie DeVoe, who did have success in this race in the past, won it with She Feels Pretty, I think, a couple seasons ago. And Cliffs, so horse is relatively lightly raced. This will be her stakes debut as she's stepping up out of allowance races. But, Mike, I like the way that she's coming into this race. I mean, she closed well into a slow pace at Saratoga 2 back. She arguably was one of the best horses in that race. And then last time out at Churchill Downs, they cut her back to 1 mile that's as short as she wants to go. To me, she
Yeah.
looks like a horse that will really relish the added ground that she's getting to work with here. The only downside is I don't think you're getting 6-1 on this horse.
Yeah, maybe not. Well, it'll be interesting to see actually how they bet it. I'm conflicted about her, David, because I remember her turf debut. I didn't like. I thought she got a really tough trip in that race and ran really well. When she won her next start, I just thought she'd run way better than that. I just really wasn't impressed with her victory at Saratoga. The trouble that she had two back and it was a slow pace. I thought there was way worse trouble behind her in that race. And I
That's
thought
fair.
ultimately things kind of worked out for her and she was, second best in there. Maybe she really will stretch out effectively. I just haven't seen one race of hers that makes me really like her. And I didn't think she was going to be some kind of great price in here.
I do think Cherie DeVos found a pretty good spot for her, but we'll
Yeah.
see what kind of price she is. The number 4, Mbea, she has another one of those Jonathan Thomas, Augustin Stables horses in this race. And Mike, the start has just been the issue for her in her last couple of starts in particular. I mean, she hopped up at the break, actually ran pretty well to just miss in that start two back after such a disastrous beginning. And then again, last time, it wasn't all her fault because she got pushed sideways coming out of the starting gate, but she broke slowly even prior to that. So she just has trouble getting position at the beginning of her races. She does have really nice finishing ability, though I wonder if that's going to translate to a mile and a quarter.
I'm worried about that too. Yeah, the big break was bad last time. And two starts back, she didn't break sharp. But the thing is, and listen, that pace was super soft in that race. Two starts back, and she actually ran well to almost get there. The flip side of that is, after she didn't break that sharply, the pace was so moderate early that it just allowed her to move right into position in that race, in behind Ribbons on the lead, and then she just couldn't really quite gun her down at the end. She ran fine. It didn't, I don't know, it didn't make me want to bet her back in this spot.
Yeah, I have the same thing written down here. She hopped at the start, but then perfect trip thereafter. So I don't want to give her too much credit for that trouble at the start. The number 5, Slick. She is a horse who's kind of been up and down lately. They tried Grade 1 company with her in the Del Mar Oaks, which I think was a tougher spot than this Grade 1 came up. And she actually ran okay in that race, only beaten a couple of lengths. And she had some traffic in the late stages. I don't think she was necessarily going to be part of the trifecta of that race, but she did run to a little bit of traffic in the final 16th of a mile. And since then, I mean, she beat a decent allowance field 2 back at Santa Anita, going the mile distance. And last time out, she was in that autumn mist that we talked about earlier for 1,000 miles. And I made the point that horses that saved ground just did the best in that race, regardless of what price they were. And Slick, I mean, she had a rail post position. She broke from post number 2, but Umberto Rispoli just seemed totally content to vacate the inside position early, just allowed her to drift wider and wider. And then she got pushed even wider by a rival that was bolting at the top of the stretch. So I think she ran better than it looks in that race. But again, Mike, I don't know if she really wants 10 furlongs.
I don't know either. Yeah, that last race, the autumn miss is just one of those races, right? I wonder how lenient you're supposed to be for the horses that didn't run well there, because there were so many short prices in there that just ran poorly, and I don't know what the reason for it is. Maybe it's an aberration. I'll say this: she got a really good trip 2 starts back. I thought she looked really good winning that race. I mean, she powered through the stretch, and I thought she won that race, very, very convincingly. But she's gonna have to do that going longer now, and I think she'll get the right trip in this race, David. But I wasn't totally convinced by her, and she was so bad last time.
And another horse that was kind of inexplicably dull in the autumn miss is the number 6, Take a Breath, who's drawn right next door to Slick, because she was bet down to be, I think, the 2-1 second choice in that race. And I wouldn't say she even had as big of an excuse as Slick, Mike, because she was never on the rail, but she was 2 to 3 wide. She kind of avoided that horse that was drifting at the top of the stretch, angled inside, and just really never was in the race. She was just dull every step of the way. I will say, her race 3 back in the Del Mar Oaks, her first start in this country, she was really flying at the end after just getting too far back early. And she had a legitimate excuse in the race in between those two, because she got completely sawed off in traffic at the top of the stretch when she was trying to make that run. But I still wonder where her form is out coming off that last effort.
Exactly. Yeah, I can see her bouncing back here, because again, the autumn miss again is just a really confounding race, and she did not run well. I'm with you. I mean, I thought overall her trip was fine. She had a seam all through the stretch in that race. That whole field just fanned out. Like, everybody had a shot at it. She had a seam and just didn't kick that hard. But her stateside debut was a good performance. She won her final 2 starts overseas. Like, she came over in good form, ran well in the Grade 1, had a no chance trip in her second start, and then for whatever reason was bad last time. I can see this horse rebounding.
Up next is the number 7 Resolve, who I think is listed at 30 to 1, co-biggest choice in the race on the morning line. And Mike, I know this is a horse that we both have some interest in. And full disclosure, for me, when I was handicapping this race, I initially just kind of skipped over this horse because she didn't look like she had the profile of a horse that could win this race. And as I finished handicapping, I kind of went through and took a second look at a lot of the bigger prices because it just feels like a race that's open to a lot of horses. And as I was digging into some of her recent races once again, she has had her fair share of trips. I mean, I thought she actually ran pretty well to finish third behind that powerful effort from Slick that you mentioned on that September 28th race. And since then, I mean, she got a wide trip in that race that was won by Ribbons 2 back. And then last time out, they tried to go long with her. She made a premature middle move, paid the price late. Of all the horses in this race, she has the physical stature to me of one that wants to go a mile and a quarter. She's big, she's long striding, so I think it's going to suit her. Is she good enough? I'm not totally convinced, but I think she's dirtied up.
Exactly. I'm not going to add too much to that because we had the same experience handicapping. I skipped over everybody the first time through this race, and I was like, oh, there's no more horses. Now I got to go back to the start and try to start building cases for these horses. And Resolve, at least for her last 3. She didn't run well in the Del Mar Oaks off a little bit of a layoff, but her last 3 starts, she's just underrated performance behind Slick in that race. 3 starts back where she just couldn't get started until it was too late. Super slow pace in that Ribbons race. I mean, they were just walking, and she's sitting at the back of the pack on the outside. She had no chance in there, but was running at the end. And I'm with you last time. They just, for whatever reason, her rider just went way too soon in that race, and she paid the price.
One other point I'll make about her, Mike, and we'll move on in a second from this 30 to 1 shot, is that she was good early in her career. She ran some really nice races last winter, and maybe it's just taken her a little while to come back around to build on that form. The number 8, Totally Justified. Mike, you know, this is a horse that I've tried a number of times through the summer at Saratoga and then the fall in Kentucky, and it just hasn't really worked out. I thought that she ran well in that regret going back to late May. I know we kind of had a disagreement about that race when we have talked about it in subsequent races, and I think I'm coming around to your position that maybe she didn't run as well as I initially thought because she has not built on that performance. I will note, though, she did go to that Facing Tipton November auction where she sold for $775,000 to some new connections. And I wonder if the pedigree has a lot to do with that, Mike, because I would imagine she's a broodmare prospect given the way that she's bred.
Yeah, I would assume that she probably is. Yeah, we'll just see. I mean, I guess the case, if I was going to make the case for in this spot, David, I do think she can get the right trip in her because she's got speed. But to me, she does not need to be on the lead to be effective. So if they go fast, I think she'll fall into a really good trip here. And then I guess if you just wanted to say, while she's not winning races as a 3-year-old, it's Nitrogen, it's Fian, and it's a lot of Laura Lynn. And those horses, if nothing else, they're way better than anything else in this field.
Yeah, it is a grade 1 race, but it is probably class relief for a horse like that coming in from the East Coast in Kentucky. The number 9, As Catch Can, she completes the trio of Jonathan Thomas Augustin Stables horses in this race. And Mike, she is coming off a career best effort when she beat Evershed, who I think was the heavy favorite in that race at Colonial last time. And Evershed, I think she maybe went the wrong way after that. She was not competitive in the Jockey Club Oaks on her next start. So maybe that's an indictment of the form. And then you look at the race condition. I mean, it was a soft course at Colonial. Maybe that's what moved up As Catch Can. She also got an absolutely perfect trip in that race. And I can't say that her prior form really thrills me.
Exactly. I saw the same things about the win last time. I don't want to say that she got lucky to win that race, but maybe she just took advantage a little bit with all those factors combining to an upset win there. Her prior 2 races out here in California, they're fine, but they're not great.
Number 10, Atsilla, she's the key to this race in a lot of ways because, I mean, she's the class coming in terms of keeping the best company. As Mike said earlier, she competed in those 5 consecutive Group 1 races overseas before coming to this country. Now, it should be noted, she was entered in the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Turf. She was one of the regulatory vet scratches for that race. So I imagine this is kind of plan B. It's probably a more realistic plan B because I don't think she had much chance in that Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Turf. They found a pretty good Grade 1 race to try here, Mike. I just don't know how good some of those Group 1 races overseas really were because obviously she was beaten by the same horse 3 times in a row in Fallen Angel, and that horse got really good at the end of the season. But you look through some of the other also rans in that race, I wouldn't say that they were vintage editions of some of those Group 1 races in England and Ireland. So I don't know if it's as much class relief as it might initially seem when you look at her on paper, but she certainly fits against this group.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I can't say when I watched a few of her races over there, I can't say that I'm thrilled with her form, and I feel like she's gonna ship over here and just win a bunch of major turf races next year. And it's also worth pointing out too. She's running in good races, yeah, but she's 50-1, she's 25-1. She's big prices in these races and just doing what she can. It's the thing to like about her here is they've shipped her over. They didn't get to run at the Breeders' Cup, and this is as an alternative. You can't do much better than this.
I will say, trainer Richard Baltus, not a move he has a whole lot of success with. Foreign shippers over the past 5 years, just 1 for 23, with only 3 hitting the board in that 23 horse sample. The number 11, Ribbons. This is a horse that wired a field in a 1 mile allowance race last time at Del Mar. She held off a horse we talked about earlier, Ambea, who probably had the tougher trip given the start that she endured that day. Ribbons, Mike, she just had everything her own way on the front end and was able to hold off that rival in the late stage. We'll take a look at the replay of that race as I discuss it. She probably will go forward again here, but another one where I wonder if a faster pace or some more distance is going to allow her to repeat this effort.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, listen, at least before this race, her form was, it was pretty consistent. I don't think she was running great races, but it was pretty consistent. I didn't like the trip that she got 2 starts back, so I can excuse her effort that day, just a really wide trip after she got bumped at the start. So her overall turf form is fine, but she basically stole that race last time. I mean, just got absolutely loose on a slow pace and sprinted home.
Well, everybody, at the spirit of the holiday season, all we want from you is one of 3 things. Maybe a subscription, hit that subscribe button, hit the thumbs up, the like. That's the easiest gift to give us. Or maybe drop a comment below. We want to hear who you like in this Grade 1 American Oaks. Let's see who Mike or me are going for in this race. And we both have Resolve on top. We mentioned earlier, Mike, I was kind of surprised we landed on this crazy long shot. She's 30-1 on the morning line. I don't know if she's going to be quite that high because it does seem like a fairly competitive race. But she is a horse that had shown talent at one point, and she just has not gotten ideal trips in her recent races.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm not surprised that you and I both went for sort of horses with an outsider look. And I'm a little surprised we went for the same one, but I'm not surprised we went for outsider horses. And we saw all the same things with Resolve, and so we'll see if she could work out a trip this time and maybe get a little bit closer. I guess if I could do it over again, David, I would probably have the 6 in there. I don't have the 6 anywhere in my top 4. If I could do it over again, I'd probably have the 6 in there somewhere, just hoping that last race in the autumn miss was a bit of an aberration.
Yeah, I had a few permutations of my picks in this race. It's a tough one to sort out, but we both went for some value on top, hopefully value at least, with the 30-1 shot. The number 7, Resolve, 7-4-3-5 for me and 7-10-2-5 for Mike in the race that closes out opening Sunday at Santa Anita, the Grade 1 American Oaks. Everybody, happy holidays and good luck if you're playing the races this weekend.